Hello everybody, it's Mary with Stamps-N-Lingers, and it is Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, which means time for a video. So let me just do a quick refresh over here to be sure I'm no longer waiting, but actually live. It looks like that is a true thing, so yay. All right, here is our card today. It features the So Refreshing bundle, which is really quite cute and kind of perfect for summer and even late spring, early fall even. Hey Sharon, hi Rosie, appreciate you guys coming. And it has a couple of designs from the delightfully eclectic, not so eclectic, delightfully eclectic DSP, which is such a big pack of beautiful paper. I think you're really gonna like it. It's a good value. You get like 40 sheets of paper, all double-sided, 4 sheets of each design. It's 48 sheets of paper. And it's amazing. Hey, Karen. Hi, Patricia. Hi, Nancy and Marilyn and Marva. Appreciate you guys coming. Okie dokie. Hey, Stormy. Appreciate you being here. And Faith and Amy. And then on the inside, I've just got the little flowers. And let's go ahead and get started. This will all be on my blog tomorrow, so you don't even need to take notes or nothing. I mean, unless you just are so fascinated by my witty repartee that you need to write it down. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to start off by adhering a piece of the delightfully eclectic paper with the little, those are bubble bath strawberries. I know. You don't see those very often. They're very, very rare. Bubble bath pink strawberries. We're going to adhere that to a piece of Pretty Peacock cardstock for the card front, and it works perfectly. And then here's the second design. And this one has got some crushed curry and daffodil delight and bubble bath and petal pink all combined here together to make a few little lemons. And that piece of DSP is the same length as its mat, and I routinely attempt to put the top at the wrong spot, so that was why I did that. Hey guys, appreciate you coming. I know, you're taking notes feverishly, I know. All right, and then we're just going to adhere this to the card front. And then we can make some pretty decorations. We're going to make some decorations. Oh, I should probably fix that. This is why I like to use liquid glue, because I am almost always crooked. Almost always crooked. Okay, so there we go. There's that. Now, before you came, I did a little bit of die cutting. And one of the things that I cut out was a beautiful little tablecloth. And can you see the embossing on there? This is a piece of lemon lolly, and I just cut it out with the this die right here. Didn't do anything else. It cut and embossed all at the same time, which I think is kind of handy. And I'm going to adhere that with a little bit of liquid glue. All right, and that's going to go right about, oh, you know, there. It's very precise measuring right there. Right about there. Yes, yes. Okay, now, I have done a little bit of other stamping and cutting, but we're going to do the picture together. All right, so to start out, I'm going to stamp the, let me put these aside before I get ink every freaking where. We're going to start with the outline of the picture, and I'm going to stamp that in smoky slate on a piece of basic white. On the other side of my block, I have the fill image, which essentially is this right here. And it's making the liquid in the picture, right? And I'm going to do that in Lemon Lolly. Now, Lemon Lolly, I'm just going to tell you straight up, you may or may not get this right on the first or even third time. Lemon Lolly is very, very hard to see. So this is what I do sometimes with photopolymer stamps when I'm doing a build stamp. I had trouble making this. And so what I did is I inked this stamp, the fill stamp, with Berry Burst ink. And I did that a few times, and I let it set for a little bit. And then I cleaned it off. And if you can you tell that it's a little bit colored? That doesn't do anything to the stamping, okay? There's no detriment to your stamping. Doesn't hurt the stamp itself. And it makes it just a little bit easier to see when you have inked up with something as light, especially when you've inked up with something as light as Lemon Lolly. all of those words aside, I do have another piece ready in case I bork it up, because it's not too hard to do that. All right, so I'm just going to line up the edges of the image like that. I'm going to hold my breath a little. I got it. I got it in like the first go. I'll take it. I'm going to take that for 1,000, Alec. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the little, this is the, oh gosh, it's easier to show you right here. It's this image right here. So the slice, the lemon slice, and I'm going to use Daffodil Delight to stamp a few, 3 of those in the middle of my picture. So they are floating in the lemonade. And that is all we're going to do for the picture. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out right quick. There is a die that does that. It's this one right here. And I will be right back in just a minute. I'm going to do it over here where I can see it, and I will not shake you into the middle of next week with my cutting. And I'm just using my die cutting machine, and I'm putting a sticky note to hold my die in place. And we're gonna see if I get it right. I'm gonna try to get it right, y'all, because I know you don't want to watch me do that again. Nobody wants to see all that twice. All right, here we go. All right, I got it. And we'll put this away. And then let's go ahead and do some builds. Not 141s, only C5s. I didn't mess with those little airplanes like that. But yes, I was in the Air Force, and I did in fact fly C5s. I started in C21s. That's the way it worked when I was young. You had to start in a small airplane and gather some hours before you could go fly the C5. These days, they just let anybody fly them. All right, so now I'm going to adhere my picture with a little bit of liquid glue. Oh, not right there. Abort. That's going to be covered, but let's just keep it real, shall we? All right, so a little bit of liquid glue. Going to adhere him right there like that. And then I also stamped and cut a couple of glasses with some lemonade, and we're going to adhere them as well with liquid glue. And yeah, you're probably like, Mary, where are the dimensionals? Wait, I'll get them. Yes, they were definitely the big ones. It was the big one. When I first went to C5s, you go to Altus, Oklahoma for training. And if you've ever been to Altus, Oklahoma, you would remember. And at the time, I couldn't reliably tell the difference between a 141 and a C5, because where I was stationed, we only occasionally got one or the other, or I'd see one or the other on my trips. But I couldn't say, I couldn't look. If I saw them side by side, I could certainly tell one from the other because they're dramatically different. But if I saw them out in the real world, in the wild, as it were, I couldn't tell. But by the time I got done with training, oh yes, I could tell the difference very well. Okay, so let's look at some other things that I have done some cutting of. I stamped the lemon image. It's this image right here. I stamped the outline in Daffodil Delight, and then I filled it with Lemon Lolly and cut it out, so we have that. And then I've cut out a couple of 5 or 12, actually one, of the little embossed image leaves. I've got one in Old Olive, one in Pretty Peacock. I actually have some extras in here. You can probably see them and you're like, Mary, you have a whole lot more than that. And then I cut a few, like 3 strawberries in Bubble Bath. And what's kind of fun is when you cut the leaves, you get 3. And when you cut the strawberries, you get 3. And you can also cut itty bitty little strawberry tops, and you get 3 at a time. And I did that, and I've got some Old Olive ones, because otherwise they look kind of funny. They need their little tops. And then I had some extras just in case I screwed up. Also, you get them kind of like for free, you know, free. Okie doke. So now we are going to build our little tiny collage over here. And I'm going to start by adhering my leaves with some liquid glue. Yep, big old cargo planes. The bestest of the best. It was a heck of an airplane, it really was. I'm gonna adhere my old olive die cut leaf. I did do a couple of the stamped ones to start with, but I really liked these better. And they were so easy. Easy is good. Easy is very good. Okay, so I've got the leaves started. And then let's go ahead and make us a little sentiment right quick, like a bunya. Once I find my little strip. Somewhere here is a strip. I cut a strip. I did cut a strip. I am not dreaming the strip, y'all. I cut the strip, but I don't know where the strip went. Where did you go, strip? Where did you go? I'm going to have to cut another strip. I know. That little song right there, I just made it up right then. Can you tell that it was not at all scripted? No. Okay, so let me get a piece of cardstock. Hang on just a second. Just a second. Oh wait, maybe that's it. Yeah, that's close enough. Here we go. I kind of found it. I found a strip that will work. It's 5/8 of an inch wide, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment from So Refreshing in Calypso Coral. And I'm using Thank You Kindly. And I'm going to put it, can you see right there where I am? Okay, I'm going to put it right about there. Like so. Murmur, murmur, murmur. I birdwatch in Delaware next to Dover, and when those things take it. Yeah, we call them metallic overcast because they're there like forever. It was kind of funny when okay, so I have to stop or I'm going to screw up. I'm going to talk for a second without doing anything. When I was stationed in Huntsville, okay, I'm lying. I have to cut because I can't just sit. It seems weird. When I was stationed in Huntsville, Sarah and I boarded Sarah at the base stable. And the base stable was right at the end of Redstone Arsenal's runway. And Redstone Arsenal, not really an active Army airfield. It was just, it had some helicopters that would fly around, and then occasionally we'd get some transient aircraft in. And so when the transient aircraft took off, they took off right over the stable. And one day, a 141 took off. No, it was a C-17, sorry. And a C-17 is a little trickier to identify between a C-5 and a 17 if you don't belong to one. And the guy who had his horse boarded next to ours, he's like, oh, what a cool C-5 that is. Isn't that what you used to fly? And I said, well, I did used to fly C-5s, but that isn't one. That's a C-17. And he goes, no, I'm pretty sure that's a C-5. And all I could think of was, now, of the two of us, which one has 2,000 hours in a C-5? I'm confused here a little bit. But I just said, well, if you just look at the little winglets, you'll tell it's a C-17, not a C-5. That's just my little story, because that's how I am. I'm a little stinky like that. Okay, so anyway, I took my sentiment and I just cut like a little angled end. And I'm going to do the same on this side. It's not a very harsh angle, just kind of a little bit. And I'm going to adhere him right about there. And we're going to see how this is all going to come together right there. Okay, I'm going to go right about there with some dimensionals. And then we'll put our lemons and our strawberries, and we'll be getting close to being done. Hello from Arkansas. Where about in Arkansas? We have family in Benton, Hot Springs area. All right, let's go right about there. Like so. All right, now I'm going to take a piece of very vanilla twine from the Baker's Twine Baker's Twine Essentials pack or Basics pack, can't remember which one, and just tie a simple bow. And I'm learning to be okay with the twisty loops, although it, gosh, sometimes really kind of bugs me. And I'm going to use a little bit of liquid glue to adhere that. It's got a little less dimension on it than putting a glue dot, but the flip side of that is you got to give it a second to adhere. You can't just get busy with it really fast because it won't work, I promise. Okay. So while that is adhering, I'll go ahead and put my little tops on my little strawberries. Aren't they so cute? I mean, seriously. Do you see they've got little seed divots in them? Right out of the die. All right, and I'm just going to use my third hand here. Hello, Gail. Appreciate you coming. Can't know what the planes are for various reasons. Yeah. Sometimes. Most C5s are pretty in your face. And I know that if he had seen them next to each other, he would have understood. But the C17 has little winglets on the end of the wings, which are very, very distinctive. It's really hard to miss them. So it's kind of a standout in a crowd, which is not to mean it's in any way superior to a C5, because the C5 is, of course, the best cargo airplane ever built. That's just me, though. What do I know? All right, so we've got our little old olive strawberry tops ready to go. And this little guy ought to be about settled in for the duration. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a dimensional and I'm going to set it right by the bow. Not on the bow, just right next to the bow. And that is what I'm going to use to adhere my die cut lemons. Right. That's what I'm going to use to adhere the die cut lemons. Not far from Benton or Hot Springs. Well, there you go. Small world, eh? And now I am going to go ahead and adhere this. I'm going to slide this so that it kind of gets out from under the lemon. We're going to adhere that right like so, right on that dimensional. But I don't want to see the dimensional, so be real there, Mary. There we go. There we go. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to tuck these little guys right in with a little bit of liquid glue. Just a little bit. Just a little bit of glue is all you need. A little bit of glue. That's another original. Just saying. All right, now you thought to yourself, I bet you that is a #1 hit song, and it's not. Just an original that I just made right then. And una más. Bum ba dum bum bum. Okay, and then this little guy is gonna go over here. Like that. Okay. Now, while they're all drying, thank you so much, Kim. I appreciate that. Little Rock is going to have maybe C-17s, definitely C-130s. C-17s have jet engines and the winglets. C-130s have prop engines and no winglets. All right, so now I've got some of the most perfect embellishment ever created, the brushed brass butterflies. It is not easy to say, but it is very beautiful to use. And I'm going to just put a few of those here, there, and around everywhere-ish. I'm going to make sure I have an odd number, so that means I'm going to have 5 somehow, some way, somewhere. There we go. Okay, so there is our card front, and I may give that a little trim. I will give that a little adjustment so it looks less like, I don't even know what that looked like, but it didn't look like a bow. So there's our card front. Now, on the inside, thank you, Carol, and thank your son as well. This is not the inner liner. That was my emergency picture stamping piece in case I needed it. On the inside, I'm going to stamp this. This is a 3-step stamp, actually, the little flowers. I'm going to tell you the way that I discovered is the easiest way to do this, to build this little bouquet. First, I encourage you to stamp the outline of the flowers. Okay? And you don't want to go too far towards the edge. Your leaves, your stem is going to be just below the bottom of this petal. Okay, so give yourself enough room there to do that. Right? And then I stamped the leaves. Hi, Bettina, I appreciate you. Oh, and I got ink all over me, and that was a disaster, almost looking for a spot. Kimberly, thank your thank your nephew for me. I appreciate his service. And flying for the Navy. Whew. Oh, I shouldn't use these flowers. I should use the stems and leaves. Now, when you do this, you're going to put this little opening right there. It's hard to see because there's ink there, but that little opening right there kind of cradles that petal right there. You see how it's lining up? And then you can just kind of wiggle the other things, but keep that lined up, and you're going to be darn close to being good. Except that I made a mess there, but watch what I'm going to do. You wait. I will so fix that. You will never even know that was there. It'll be like it never even happened. Like Service Pro. Like it never even happened. And then I'm going to take the fill image, and I'm going to stamp it off once. I'm going to do that again because I don't have a good image there. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to use this to fill. And just kind of take your time, get it all lined up, look at all of the edges, and then set it down. There we go. Now, I'm going to show you, I want to show you something, okay? Because I want you to know that I'm not putting the butterflies in here because I made a smudge. I had already put butterflies in, okay? So it is a perfect opportunity for an embellishment. Yes, that is true, but it isn't the actual reason for the embellishment. But I am going to put a couple of 3. This right here is why I say these are the most perfect embellishments ever made, because they're little and they're flat. And they don't take up a lot of space, and they don't mess up the inside of your card. Do I miss my time in the Air Force or piloting? I miss sometimes the idea of flying. You know, okay, let's be real. I liked being a pilot, especially in the Air Force. There was some cachet to being a pilot. I liked wearing a flight suit. I liked the cool factor. I loved the airplane. It was a great airplane. I didn't particularly care for being alerted at midnight and showing up at 1 in the morning to then do a 24-hour day. I didn't like that at all. And I certainly wouldn't like it now. That's a young man's sport, in Mary's opinion, or a sport for someone who loved it more. I do miss the Air Force. There was so much in the Air Force, the camaraderie and the family feel that you had, and the shared mission, the shared hardship, the shared success. That is something that is very difficult to replicate, and I do miss that. But those were a good 23 years. And then obviously I liked the military enough that I proceeded to spend another 10 or 11 working for the Army. So there you go. Thank you, Catherine. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody who has family in the service. The family works dang near as hard, and in many ways harder, than the actual service member does. So it is absolutely a full family effort. There is no doubt about it. All right. And then I'm going to put my front on with some dimensionales. And these dimensionals are left over from, from the Birthday Wishes kit. Or the Blossom Wishes. That one. Blossom Wishes, I think it is. Okay. Because I cut the ones that it gave us a lot of dimensionals in the kit, but I cut them in half, so I got even more. Yeah, baby, free dimensionals. That works. But let me show you something. This is a safety tip. Okay, so these are regular dimensionals, the kind you just buy, Stampin' dimensionals. You buy them in the store. This longer strip is the kit dimensionals. If you look, you can see the difference in the thickness. Okay, it's not very much, but if you mix and match them on, like if I put some of the thick ones and some of the thin ones on the card front, in Mary's World, you'd be able to tell that. Maybe you can or you can't, but just pick one and stick with it on whatever piece you're working on. That's just me. You do you, but that's what I do. I try to stay with the same kind of dimensional. Okay, let's see if I've got all the cover. There, that one cover is not off. Okay. Yes, Polly. See, it's right. It's very hard. Being a military family is not an easy row to hoe. Especially some of the, you know, when all of the deployments are taking place. Yeah. Okay. Got me a little bit of extras there. Okay, so there's our card. I even put it on the right direction. We're going to get another shot with the flowers. Ooh, scary. And then we'll be done. Alrighty, so starting with the outline of the flowers, I'm going to put this at the bottom corner. And then we'll do the leaves in Pretty Peacock. I'm going to clean that off just to be sure I'm not making myself a headache. All right, Pretty Peacock. And I'm just going to tuck these two leaves in, petals, right there in the stem. And kind of line everything else up. And there we go. And then the fill image in Stamped Off Once, Pretty Peacock. I can't talk or I'll mess it up. Okay, there we go. There we go. And then I think, whoosh, yeah, Polly, that is gray hair making. That is for certain. Being deployed is a whole lot different as a C5 person. I was deployed some, not deployed, but when Desert Storm was going on 1,000 years ago, I can't believe how long ago that was now, they had what was called the third pilot program. And so in C5s, when you had a basic crew, so basically one pilot, one co-pilot, couple of engineers, and a few loadmasters, that was called a basic crew, and you had a 16-hour crew day, which you couldn't get a lot done with. So what they would do is they would send a crew overseas with the basic crew in place, and then they'd pick up a third pilot so that they would then be augmented and could do a 24-hour day, and then we'd go downrange and come back. So I was in what was called the third pilot pool quite a bit, which meant I got to spend a lot of time in Germany or in Turkey or in Spain. I guess there was one there in Torrejon. And that was interesting. So that was being gone for a minute. But for the most part, I was never deployed. It was always go and come home. And then I'm just going to put some more of this Delightfully Eclectic on the envelope flap. All right. And world's easiest fussy cut, and we will be done, Skay. Always use this as your opportunity to refine your fussy cutting skills. Keep the paper up against the fulcrum of the scissors and turn the paper with the hand holding the paper. Don't turn the scissors. There we go. And there we have a thank you card from So Refreshing. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope I will see you guys on Saturday. Bonus days is still going on. You've got, what is today, the 20th? You've got 11 more days to get $5 coupons for every $50 that you spend in retail, and then you'll be able to redeem them all in August. Alrighty, guys. I appreciate you. You have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on Saturday. Thanks. Ta.